Life is good, but it can be better.
I want to be an apex predator. Barbara, what did you do?
The way I fly, they will never find us.
I forgot to tell you.
What?
Radar.
Will they shoot at us? Well, shit, Diana. Does everybody parachute now?
Hello and happy 2024.
Happy 2024.
Oh, it's fucking
election
insane that
year,
it's
both
2024.
sides of the Atlantic. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but we'll ruin all of that by giving you the second half.
What a way to start the year. Just in case you thought 2024 was going too well so far.
Already.
We're here to fuck it all
up. And drop the other anticipated boot. This is the second half of episode 1 of our breakdown of Wonder Woman 1984, where we pick it up from the reveal, the big reveal of the thing, what drives the plot.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the
wishing stone.
Yeah,
is what they'll call it. Yeah.
It's it's not bewitched, is it? Yeah. The wishing stone. Does it get called that? Yeah, weirdly, it gets called several different things, doesn't it? I seem to recall. Yeah.
If you've been waiting on tenterhooks to find out what happens next,
more fool you for one thing. Yeah. But
I'm afraid that, spoiler alert, what happens next is more terrible film.
Yeah. There is that. Yeah, so it's good references to Chips, though. But
there's the odd fun moment, but it's mostly mostly interspersed.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just nice to look at Chris Pine and Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pleasant on the eye, easy on the eye.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They're both lovely.
Yeah. If only they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, if only someone had written a script that made any sense at all.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that they continue, it's probably because they're pleasant to look at, they continue to do other work.
Yes.
It does seem to me that...
Yeah, this didn't kill their careers.
Yes, exactly. yes. Should have done, because it was a stinker. And it wasn't. There wasn't even the saving grace of great performance trapped inside a bad film, which is another one of our theories.
I've enjoyed more of Chris Pine's subsequent work than Gal Gadot's. Chris Pine has done some great films since, including, for example, Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
But whereas Gal Gadot, I think...
Not so much.
Not a lot of the stuff she's done has been a bit crap, like Heart of Stone.
Right. Yeah.
Red Notice.
Right.
Struggling to think of a good thing she's done since. Maybe there's stuff there that I'm just not thinking of, but this might have been her zenith.
Right.
It's hard to say. We'll see where it goes from here.
Right.
But Chris Pine,
I
I
think I would have thought that the first Wonder Woman was possibly a zenith.
Oh, I think she did better things before, definitely.
Yeah.
So this was this was halfway down the slide downwards.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I did watch Red Notice the other day. Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, it was fine, but it was fine only because I like all three of the main people in it. Frankly, they could have done anything. I probably would have enjoyed it. The film itself, there wasn't much to talk about, but I like all three, so they're fine. Yeah.
I think if I would stop short of them covering McCartney's simply having a wonderful Christmas time. I think,
I mean, she didn't do a great job with Imagine, did she, Gal?
No.
So.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very expensive royalties.
Very bad.
On that. Yeah, and very, very bad.
Anyway, we should not delay you from getting to the joys of Wonder Woman 84.
Second part of
any
episode
further.
1. Yeah. And don't forget, you can, if you want to listen to the other 17, 18, how many episodes did we do?
We did a lot. We did a few.
We did a lot.
Yeah.
It did. It did. We were incensed
At some
by
point,
the
I
whole
got
experience.
quite angry.
Yeah.
At several points, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so if you want to immerse yourself in that and a vast library of other stuff, don't forget you can join our other patrons at patreon.com/ftrump and be exposed to us ranting about other media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah. And enjoy the rest of your New Year's holiday. Diana at that point says, okay, I'll look into this some more.
Yeah. Which she doesn't.
No.
She doesn't do any looking into it at that point.
No. But then you think, well, who's asked you to do that? And isn't that what they've asked Barbara to do?
Yeah. But she agrees to go out for a meal with Barbara, who previously asked her to lunch.
And then, despite the fact that there was no wind when Coffee Guy had his wish, they go to this restaurant, which is at the top of somewhere up. Super windy.
Yeah, despite there being windows which are apparently closed. There's no evidence of where that wind would be coming from.
However, not a trace of it on the sound.
No, and also no wind apparently affecting Barbara. Only Diana. Yeah. Her kind of silky blouse thing is moving all over the place.
Her hair's blown. Yeah. I went to the Isle of Wight festival one year, and there was a tribute act. Well, it was a kind of comedian. It was a sort of piss-taking act of the Sex Pistols, but they were called the Sex Pissed Dolls, and it was they were doing all of the glamour tropes of kind of punk girls, but with big hair. And on stage, they had these massive fans, and they would play the guitar and lean into the fans so their hair would blow in, 80s kind of overblown fashion, which made me think of Diana's hair blowing and all this. And you're kind of thinking, okay, but I'm not hearing any wind. And why? What? They just think they filmed that on a windy day.
No, unclear why there's wind in this restaurant. Yeah,
in one half of the show.
But Diana tells Barbara that she is very funny, and personable and fun to talk to, and hasn't laughed this much in years, and So apparently Barbara is a lovely person once you get to know her.
Yeah.
But no one wants to know her because she has glasses on and can't walk in heels.
Exactly. And she only wishes that she was more like her. And my note was, does this date between Diana and Barbara pass the Bechdel test?
I was wondering that, yeah.
Yeah.
If I think it might not, because she asks the main question is whether Diana has ever been in love. So the Bechdel test requires that you don't talk about men when there's two named women talking in a scene. Yeah. You don't talk about a man. And kind of she does. She asks her about her relationships. It lasts
about 2 minutes, and then she kind of goes, oh, yeah, there was this one guy, but he died.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think this scene necessarily does pass it. I think arguably it passes it later on when Barbara becomes Cheetah, and they have a fight and a bit of a chat. I don't think they talk about men at that point.
No.
So
bit of a
chat, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the film as a whole just passes the Bechdel test, which is fucking impressive for a film that is basically about female empowerment. Or supposed to be.
Yeah.
About that.
Well, yeah. Is it? Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. I think it's about thwarted megalomania, isn't it? Yeah.
But she's walking back apparently from the meal, her date with Diana, and a drunk arsehole basically attacks Barbara, and Diana comes and rescues her and kicks the guy into next week basically, and rescues her, and she says I was using his weight against him. It's normal self-defense stuff. I was just
basic jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
And so when Barbara gets back to her office. She then holds a wishing stone and wishes to be like Diana.
Yeah.
And she says she wants to be strong and sexy and cool and
at that point we do get the wind.
We do get
effect.
wind. Yes.
Yeah, which she doesn't notice. We're indoors.
No one seems to notice it when the wind happens when the witches.
We're like in a hermetically sealed lab at night, and she's just been mugged. So you'd kind of want to check the doors, wouldn't you? You'd go, is that somebody opened the door or something? You know, but they're obviously, so far, the actors we've seen who are affected by wind are oblivious to wind.
Yeah.
Because at the cafe, nobody didn't notice it at all. No. And so she wants to be strong and sexy and cool and special, even though Diana had said that Barbara was all of those. And however, you're nothing if you're not beautiful. Because beauty is truth and truth is beauty. And Sandy wants to be Stockard Channing in Greece. And yeah. So, yeah.
And I mean, if your role model is Gal Gadot, I mean, if that's who you're comparing yourself to. Yeah.
But she forgets the fact that she gets the guy out of the IT crowd in Bridesmaids, you know, and that she is, despite the fact that Gal Gadot has told her that she is.
I mean, she's Hollywood
picked her up.
She's
yeah.
She's Amanda Bynes before she takes the glasses off and lets her hair down.
There you go.
And She's All That.
Exactly.
I don't think Amanda Bynes was in She's All That. But anyway, weirdly, it seems to be a confidence thing. Because she falls asleep and she wakes up the next morning at her desk, having wished for this stuff. She looks exactly the same as she did the previous night. The only thing she does is take her skirt off and pull her top down to be a kind of a skirt thing over her leggings, basically. She doesn't take her glasses off. No, she's wearing her glasses still that morning.
Oh, is she? Yeah. Oh, is she? Oh, because I was thinking, it's the Clark Kent thing.
No, the only thing she does differently is take her skirt off and pull her top down.
Yeah.
And she's wearing leggings, so that covers it. She's wearing different heels now to the heels she was wearing the entire day before she fell asleep at her desk.
Yeah.
But now suddenly she can walk in them. Yeah. Not only can she walk in them, she can leap out of the way of a knocked over water bucket.
And jump on a chair. Single footed.
And now the Asian guy who previously kind of wouldn't even stop to help her pick up her papers
briefcase.
Is like, hey, babe.
Yes.
And and the janitor knows her name. And I don't know if that's supposed to... I'm not sure if that's supposed to indicate that now she's sexy. That people now know who she is. Because literally the person who interviewed her for her job didn't know her name the day before. So the fact the janitor in the department knows her name is, I'm guessing, is supposed to be an indication that now everyone knows who she is.
But later on, Max Lord turns up and the woman that interviewed her said, Barbara.
Now everyone knows who she is, because now she's got her wish to be like Diana, and everyone likes her because she's cool. Even though she hasn't changed at all.
A bit.
She hasn't even taken her glasses off at this point. Yeah. So then Max Lord comes in. He's kind of a douche, and all anyone knows about him is he's been on TV, and he says, "Life is good, but it could be better.
Could be better."
And she meets him and kind of fawns over him a bit, and he is. It's weird. It's kind of weird because at this point she has wished to be like Diana.
Yeah.
And yet the only reason Max is pretending to like her is to get what he wants.
Yeah.
So it is a weird kind of mixed message, because it should be that everyone is attracted to her. That if she got her wish to be like Diana, and yeah, her colleague said, "Hey, you look good," but Max is only pretending to like her, so that's an odd
because otherwise he would be enthralled by her, and then
in a way it should
troubled
be
by the fact that he wants to use her to get the crystal.
Absolutely.
So he ought to be torn by the fact that he's pretending to like her, but he actually liked her because she's irresistible.
There's room there for something interesting.
Yeah.
There's room for him to suddenly be attracted to her, and yet he also needs something from her.
Yeah.
So
he would, with the outset, he was going to pretend to be attracted to her in order to get the crystal, but actually turns out to be attracted to her because of the magic wish being granted, and then would be in conflict about using that despite his better judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they don't go down that route.
That would be easy to put that here. If that was in there,
it'd be more
that would make him a bit more dimensional.
Yeah.
Like maybe we get up to 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
With him. Yeah. So he kind of wanders about and gets the tour of the Smithsonian, and Diana kind of said, no, he's just a schlemiel. He can fuck off.
Yeah. She meets him, doesn't trust him. He offers to get her a TV because she says she doesn't have a TV.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't watch TV, but I can get you a great big one. Yeah. And I've been on TV.
Inches.
It's huge. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't look up whether 19-inch TVs were of the thing.
I think arguably that was the most 80s reference in this film.
I did have a massive widescreen TV, not in the 80s, in the 90s, before they were flat screen, and it was actually as a result of it being a 16:9 screen at the front, it was deeper than it was wide.
Yeah. CRT screens.
Just to
Fuck me, I had an enormous. I mean, it was probably 32 inches or something like that.
Wow.
But in terms of, because it was a CRT screen, it was fucking huge. So when we eventually swapped it for a flat screen, I almost broke my back getting that out of the house. Because it's the weight of that amount of bulk for that size screen. It's fucking heavy.
Plus you realise that the room was like 3 feet.
I practically died.
The next scene, we end up at Max's building, don't we?
Yeah, his corporation.
We see him,
which is like flashy on the outside and decrepit on the inside.
Yeah, and he drives up in a Rolls Royce with a gold grill, which is kind of just ghastly. And he approaches. Actually, it's really quite a well-observed 80s postmodern architecture. You know, with kind of postmodernism was happening in the 80s with those ghastly, gaudy, coloured columns and things like that. It was, and it's kind of, and postmodernism, I think, was also termed as architectural shopping. So it was a mashup of all the architectural styles that had previously existed. So it was the height of, I mean, if you look at the City of London during the height of Thatcherism, it is overstretched columns and coloured awnings and broken pediments and things like that. It's just ghastly, horrible stuff. But it was all thought of being very aspirational, and it's very yuppie and show-offy of riches and riches gained at the expense of others. It becomes synonymous. That kind of postmodern architecture has become synonymous with that exploitative financial, kind of marketeering. It's Reaganomics and Thatcherism made flesh, and it's horrible, and it's been thoroughly rejected by the architecture community ever since. But they got that very right when he turns up in a gold-fronted Rolls and this postmodern architecture building, and he goes in and walks past reception, goes upstairs to a sort of unfinished office bit into a corner, which is finished, in the gaudiest kind of game show host. It reminds me of, I saw a picture once of Bruce Forsyth's living room in the late 70s and 80s, and it's got those full-size porcelain leopards and gold palm trees. It's that kind of stuff which was thought of as being very affluent and high class, but it's the kind of class of people that ought not to be given any kind of money, because they would just buy porcelain leopards and gold palm trees, and it's just horrible, ghastly stuff. So I called it Neo Game Show host.
We discover that Max has a child called Alistair, who he has this weekend is his weekend with Alistair.
And also that he's running not a Ponzi scheme, because one of his investors turns up and says, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's a completely fake thing. You're peddling this fake stuff. There's no oil fields. You've just bought the oil rights to places that have got no oil. And he says, it's a Ponzi scheme. And then Max Lord says, no, it's not a scheme. He kind of pronounces it weirdly. You think, you just heard him say scheme. Why are you saying scheme? At which point I realised I was nitpicking. But I did play it back 4 times. I went, he definitely said scheme.
The weird thing is that Simon, the guy who is berating him, is one of his investors, which has got his business to where it is at this point, but is demanding his money back because he's done a bit of research and he's realised that Max's oil fields are on land that everyone else has passed on because it doesn't really have any oil. And he's basically saying, I want my money back in 48 hours or I'm going to the authorities. Max, at this point, as far as he's concerned, is this close to a magic fucking wishing stone that can get him anything he wants.
Anything he wants.
So why does he care what Simon thinks? Yeah. He is like
why
desperate.
Is he pleading with him?
He's desperate that Simon doesn't...
Say, don't pull out now because I'm
so close.
I'm hitting upon something.
He's right there. He has seen it in Barbara's office. He knows he's going to get it from her at the gala members' evening tonight. I just tell Simon to fuck off. Because he's going to he's going to say, right, if you want to pull out, that's fine. I'll give you all your money back. Not a problem at all. I will keep all of the profits. If you want to pull out, I will get all the benefit. That's better for me.
You're going to lose out.
Yeah. No problem at all. My business, you'll see it tomorrow. My business is going to go to an amazing distance. So if now's when you want to pull out, go ahead.
Just before I break it.
There's no reason for him to be really upset and anxious and excited about what's
other
Simon
than
is saying.
He gets to say the line, I'm not a con man, I'm a television personality.
Very Trump.
And a respected businessman with a plan. And you go, well, no, you're none of those things.
And then again,
you are
Simon calls him a loser, and he says to Alistair, very Trumpian, he says, I'm not a loser, he's a loser.
Yeah. and you're going to be proud to be my son. And then poor little Baron, I mean Alistair, says, okay.
Yeah.
And he and at that point, did you look at Alistair and go, A, why is your name Alistair when you're obviously Korean or something?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And then, okay, notwithstanding the fact that maybe his wife was Korean or something.
Presumably.
Then you get to hear what Maxwell Lord's real name is. So you think, oh, okay, so he's Hispanic. So the kid is probably
he's
Hispanic.
obviously
right.
Hispanic.
Okay. Yeah.
So, the Hispanic father and Korean mother have called their kid Alistair. It's an odd name. Choice.
It's very weird because we don't get to see who the mum is at any point.
No.
And
it's just never in the thing.
And you just kind of think, what is that? Is there a plot point going on there? What
it is weird because there are films like there was a fucking brilliant film, David Copperfield, the adaptation of David Copperfield by Armando Iannucci.
And
the casting in that film was colourblind. Like Shonda Rhimes sometimes does, like they did in Bridgerton. And there are characters in the film who are South Asian or black or East Asian and with no logic to their parentage within the film. It's deliberately completely colourblind casting. That's not what's happening here.
No.
Because Alistair is the only out of place character.
Yeah.
And so it does stand out, and it does seem odd.
It makes you think, well, why have they done that? Because it's a deliberate act, but it's not consistent through the rest of the film. And you think, okay, what point are they making here? And they're not.
Yeah. It's very strange.
As far as I can see, yeah.
Yeah.
Very odd. And he's not particularly... You kind of think, okay, why has he heard all of that and he's weeping because he's a loser? And he goes, well, I'm not a loser. And he could have saved that entire scene by saying, well, I know where the crystal is. I'm going to get all my heart's desire, so you can fuck off. I'm not a loser, and you won't make me look like a loser in front of my son.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be...
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to make the character desperate. It's a way to make the character come across as he is absolutely at his last straw. He has to do this.
Yeah.
The wishing stone is his only way out of the pit he's dug himself into. That's basically what this scene does. It does have that effect. It does make it so that we can see that his business is a total sham. He doesn't have any of the riches that he claims to have. He's presenting himself as this philanthropist who can donate to the museum, and he's a TV person, successful businessman. Yeah. And we see that he's none of that. So it does that job. It does have that effect of his only way out of this situation is magic.
Is to get the yeah. And I guess at that point that the introduction of Alistair the son is to set him up as the redemption touchstone later on, because there's this sense that he's going to do all this stuff. It's
weirdly inconsistent.
It's not. It doesn't work.
It's the only thing that separates him from Trump, because he does appear to genuinely have some affection for his son. But
I think
at times,
I'm not sure. I think that's the point. If we were making the film, that would be the point at which that would become apparent that he is affected by how he is perceived by his son, because his son means more to him than anything else, and that's the redemption touchstone later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Only at the end. At this point in the film, it does seem, and I mean, until the end, it does seem like the only reason that his son is important is because his son is the mirror at which he sees himself. His son is the measure of his success, basically. If his son sees him as a successful businessman, then that's what he is, and so that's what he's aiming towards, is someone who his son can be proud of. Yeah. And it's only at the end that he thinks actually his relationship with his son is more important than success. So it is held up in the film as he loves his son, but it's not. It's very inconsistent. No.
Yeah, and it also it relies upon the fact that his son, who's, I don't know, what is he, 8, 6, something like that, probably 8.
I'd say age of 8-ish.
The age of Diana in the opening scenes,
8 to 10.
That Alistair hears all that goes on between Max and Simon, understands it all, and is weeping as a result of it. Rather, what is it? Because basically they talk to each other. Simon and Max talk to each other. If you were 8, would that mean anything?
Yeah, I mean, they're basically talking about underperforming oil fields.
Yeah, that's right. And Alistair, who's kind of adept at, investing in oil speculation, is going, oh, no, you've really blown it now, Dad. Yeah. If only you'd listened to me. But it's a weird point. So what is it that his son is upset about? He's probably more upset about his dad forgetting that it's his weekend to be there with him.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that is played through, but the kid spends so much time completely on his own in this office building.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, when I was 13, 14, my dad was made redundant from his job that he'd had for 40 years or whatever, and I didn't think at that point, oh, what a fucking loser my dad is. It's just, no, that's not that. It's not how you evaluate things as a kid. Is through job success. So
that's the problematic bit. If he is the character that provides the mirror. Or provides the measure of truth and reality in normality that later on Max sees himself deviating tremendously from, sufficient to him to give it all up and go, oh no, I've really blown it. I should go back to normal and reach back to my son. You kind of think, well, that would be the story arc. But it's so poorly established at this point that you don't fucking give a toss. No. You don't care. That you don't think, oh my God, you're really betraying your son and the relationship you have with your son, that you've gone so out of the way that's the only way back.
The extent to which we see it now at this point in the film is that, he's desperate. He has failed in what he was trying to do, and his only the wishing stone is his only solution at this point. That's the level it's taken to, but it's not done in a clever way or an intuitive way or a way that moves the story
that
forward.
Drives the rest of the film. Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
It's done in a
because we find out later on he's been looking for this stone for years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
And this has always been the way out, and everything else has been a subterfuge up to this point.
He's absolutely a con man. It's not that he's been buying these oil fields because he thought they were real oil fields. He was always looking for the wishing stone. So he's not a would be successful businessman. He's a complete charlatan who has finally found the thing that will get him out of the hole he's dug for himself.
Yeah. Which the thing that he's been looking for all this time.
Yeah, and it's never explained how he knows what it is, despite the fact that literally world-class gemologists have never heard of it, to the point that when they hold the thing in their hands, they assume it's a fake.
Yes, exactly.
And yet he knows
something that sounds like latrine. Yeah, and there's pictures of it, which later on they're
even though it's on fucking Roman coins.
It's a complete revelation when they go, "Oh my God, look, he's been looking at this video.
Romulus
There's
is
drawings
literally
and everything
in this engraving."
Yeah.
So they have the members, Smithsonian members party, where apparently we hear that Max is going to announce his sponsorship, of the gemology department. Doesn't happen. That's not a thing that happens in this film, but that's what we hear is going to happen at this party. Presumably, Max has only got involved with the Smithsonian from the point at which the press announced that the artifacts that were taken from the mall heist were taken to the Smithsonian to be identified. So from that point, Max has become an important enough donor / member of the Smithsonian Association to be invited to not only attend the members' gala that evening, but also somehow present something there.
Yeah. But because in the background, meanwhile, they employed Barbara. This is back to the bit. They employed Barbara, a gemologist. A gemologist. However, we reached Diana, who's at her desk poring over many books about Roman history, who then goes down to where Barbara works. Barbara isn't there, and neither is the crystal. And behind the straw in the box, there's a receipt from the black marketeers in the jewellery shop.
Because it's really important when you're a black marketeer to keep proper receipts.
Keep proper receipts, because otherwise you can't trace where that laundry money is coming from. And she looks at the receipt and it says Max Lord, black gold, which we all know from the Beverly Hillbillies, black gold city. And but it takes Diana, she has to get out of her pocket, which she's put into a different pair of trousers, into a different outfit, the card that Max gave her with his name and Black Lord Enterprises, or Black Gold Enterprises on it, and compare that with the receipt long enough for us to clock that.
This film
he must have been behind the robbery.
Trust the viewer to understand when we see the words Max Lord on the receipt to think, oh, it's that guy.
It's that guy, not any other Max Lord that has been in the story so far. But it also gives us time to look at it and go, oh, so that robbery was all about him.
Oh, God,
because the black marketeers...
It's so insulting to its audience.
But wait a minute. If the black marketeers... So did the robbers steal something that was destined to go to Max anyway?
So Max Lord had bought it from the black marketing people.
Right.
He was due to pick it up, presumably from the jewelers. Yeah. But before he could pick it up, it got stolen by the stealer people.
The bad guys got it.
Yeah.
Right, the stealer people.
By stealer's wheel. Yeah. But but it's so frustrating. This film doesn't give its audience any credit whatsoever for understanding anything. It has to spell everything
well, mainly
out.
because it's been completely bloody confusing up to this point.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't give you a tiny bit of credit for being able to think past. I mean, just fucking matching up the name of the character that we know.
Yeah, exactly.
With the name of the character on the piece of paper that she's looking at.
Yeah.
It assumes you're too thick to understand that, so she has to put out the. It's like later on when she learns how to fly, which we'll get to. Where they have to repeat the voiceover from Steve Trevor in case you've forgotten why she suddenly knows how to fly.
Yeah. But there's also a note that I wrote down in this scene where she's looking at the crystal because Barbara's not there. She's doing Barbara's job, even though she's not been asked to, where there's a shot through a cat skeleton. And there's also like a stuffed lynx up on the cupboard. Mm-hmm. But I made a film in 1984 at film college called Perchance, which was set in a dusty classroom that had the same cat skeleton. And the opening shot was an establishing shot. It was a tracking shot across through a cat skeleton, across some dusty books, up to the kid sitting at the desk who was learning Latin from what turns out to be a lizard. So it was kind of a whole thing about Latin. What was the tagline? Latin classrooms and disappearance.
Kids.
Taught by lizards, learned by kids. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so I went, oh, that was it. And I looked it up when I made that. Yeah, 1984, same year, same cat skeleton.
Probably the same cat skeleton.
Yeah.
So
exactly the same one.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting because in that respect, the audience is being they are expecting something from the audience by foreshadowing stuff like that with the lynx and the cat and there's a few things in Barbara's office and in Max's office. In fact, there's a few kind of stuffed. There's a stuffed leopard and there's stuff like that which foreshadows Barbara's ultimate transformation.
Diana's leopard skin heels earlier on.
And so they are. They kind of shove it down your throat a bit, but they are, in a way, expecting their audience to see these things and it trigger something in them, and yet they're giving their audience no credit whatsoever in just being able to follow the basic plot.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of it feels like they're going through the motions. Yeah. But you know, when you watch a Tarantino film, part of the joy of watching it is that you get barreled along, and then you think, oh yeah, well I knew that was going to happen before it was going to happen. Why did I know that? And when you go back, you realise he's laid the foundations. Yeah. He's also made some jokes along the way, but you kind of get there and you know just as it's going to happen that it's going to happen. Because you've been, in a Hitchcock kind of way, you've been teased along the way by people that know how to do film.
Yeah.
Like Tarantino's a master of that stuff. You know, he's a proper film geek. So he does all that, but he does it in a very subtle way. Whereas this one, they seem to be just playing the game of, wouldn't it be good if we stuffed a leopard in at this point? Or let's have leopard skin shoes
Tarantino
to do the heel
basically
gag.
Gets you from A to C without necessarily going through B. He takes you on an interesting route that gets you where the story goes, and the whole journey is interesting. This film gets you from A to C by screaming B at you the entire time.
Yeah, but it's in such a way that it doesn't feel like they're doing it to get you to see. They're just going, we need to be shouting B
while
at this
you're
point,
at B,
but we don't quite know
B
why.
At you.
Yeah. But we don't quite understand why that is.
At some point, we might move on to see. Let's wait and see what happens.
Let's get there. Let's not trust anybody to come with us because they've not made it. They've not made it linear and intuitive to kind of go along with them. We're being bludgeoned along the way, and it's not clear where we're going next. So we're just kind of given these things, and you go, "Oh right, let's flag it and shout it through a bullhorn at the same time," but we don't quite know where we're going. So Jesus Christ.
So we're at the party.
Well, not even that. Well, hang on, because we've gone shopping with Barbara to buy heels.
Oh God, yes.
And even the shop assistant is surprised that she looks amazing. No, is that more?
Because she's not
dowdiness
changed,
preceded her hitherto. No, she's wearing a tight kind of lacy dress, and she said, "So has she been at that shop before and been turned away because she's too dowdy and ordinary?"
Like in the Pretty Woman thing.
Yeah.
You couldn't afford this.
Time,
it's too good looking for you.
Yeah, but this time they're going, "Oh, you look amazing!" Like I didn't expect
weird.
that because I've seen you before. What? Oh no, I didn't get it. No. So then she wears that outfit to the party.
She gets a nice dress to wear to the party, which I mean.
But then the next shot, just so that we don't think that Barbara's got it all yet, the next shot we get Frankie Goes to Hollywood, the intro to that track.
To Pleasure Dome. Yeah.
And despite saying that she never goes to these things, never goes out, Diana exits the limo and almost exits most of her entire dress.
Yes. There is a very high thigh split in that dress.
Through a tracking shot up the stairs. And you think, okay, right.
Yeah.
Right. Why have we got that then? Yeah.
And Barbara does look good when she arrives.
Yeah.
And every single male character...
Yeah. Exactly.
Every single male character, fucks both of them at every step they take.
And 10 years ahead of Joey from Friends saying it, some guy says, "How you doing?"
Yeah. Several of them proposition them along the way.
Yeah.
Again, this scene, I think, is the only reason it's set in the 80s because it's creepy as it is, but because it's set in the 80s, you go, oh, well, that's what it was in the 80s. Yeah, that's
right, yeah. And then there's a weird thing where she finds Max and, like, everybody, completely unknown people who've never spoken to Barbara before say, wow, you look amazing. And then Max kind of comes up to her and says...
Weird. I mean, almost not worth mentioning, but when Diana first arrives, she sees Max up like two stories up, and then she walks up one flight of stairs and then he's downstairs from her. It's really weird because she's heading towards him. She knows at this point that he bought the wishing stone. She doesn't know what it is. But she's gone, I think,
You'd
possibly
at least
to
want to go talk to him. Quite.
But
heads towards him and
he teleports 2 stories down.
2 stories down.
And then she
want to ask him about that, if nothing else.
And she can't apparently be bothered to walk down the stairs again because she moves on to another room. And he meets up with
some other guy,
Barbara.
some random guy,
various random guys who.
I'm working at the White House. Yeah, I'm interned, but I'm asked for by name. And he goes,
I've had my eye on you for a while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and she's basically saying "fuck off" to every man who comes up to her.
Right. Yeah, and then Max goes up to Barbara and does this whole biotin.
I don't know what the fuck that was. That was so weird. It was like negging.
Yeah. It was kind of keep young and beautiful. It was a rerun of the 1933 film Roman Scandals with Eddie Cantor in which the song was "Keep Young and Beautiful." Beautiful. It's your duty to be beautiful. Keep young and beautiful if you want to be loved.
Yeah.
Eddie Cantor is singing in blackface, by the way, if you want to go look that up.
Not a great thing for them.
Not
nowadays,
a good thing, no. But it's that, we've moved on 50 years, no, nothing's changed.
The conversation that he has with her is basically, I know of a great thing for wrinkles you could do with it. Basically.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's super
you
weird.
Look great.
It doesn't go anywhere.
You look great.
It doesn't
You look
come
great.
back again.
Yeah. I don't normally dress like this. I bought it today, and he goes, biotin. You go, what? Yeah, because, you wouldn't want to lose your looks.
Super weird.
Yeah, right. What the fuck?
It's almost like the film is like a product placement thing.
Yeah. Then, 3 minutes after that, the geezer who's been stalking her, dressed as the 50s. He's dressed as Marlon Brando from
He's
The Wild
Marlon
Thing.
Brando without the cap, basically. Yes.
Exactly, yeah. He comes into the room and says, Diana, and then convinces her that he is Chris Pine, because she's been bugged by the fact that she wished for him to return, and he did. And then, so the camera goes around them.
Yeah.
And then at some point, at which point the guy exits frame, he gets swapped with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
He then, not Chris Pine, the guy then spends the rest of the scene, because he continues to swoop around the pair of them, spends the rest of the scene walking behind the camera whilst Chris Pine gets to snog Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
And I bet the first person to complain when the director said, can we retake that? I bet he was the first one to complain. So he gets onto the scene. He's the one who convinces her that that he is Chris Pine. He's Steve. He then exits the frame. Chris Pine comes in, stands behind the camera. He doesn't get to snog Gal Gadot. Chris does.
So we need to address this.
Please.
So Wonder Woman, Diana Prince, wished for Steve Trevor to come back to life, basically. She wished to have her boyfriend back, who she'd met for 5 fucking days 70 years ago. And she's never met anyone else who can compare with this bloke who she shagged once. And he does. But the wishing stone, which is wildly inconsistent in how it grants wishes.
Yeah.
The only way it could bring Steve Trevor back,
give the fat guy a coffee disguised as a tea.
The only way it could bring Steve Trevor back is in the body of another guy.
Yeah.
Not just bring him back, even though in scenes to come it will manifest a fucking wall out of nowhere that's like 60 foot tall across the border of Egypt. It can't create Steve Trevor out of nowhere. It has to bring him back in the body of an engineer who has gone who the fuck knows where.
Yes, exactly.
We don't know what has happened to this guy. Is he dead? Does he have family? What the fuck has gone on with this person?
He's still there.
Well, his body is there. But Steve Trevor
can't see. He can only see.
The thing is, in Quantum Leap, when this happened, when Sam Beckett took someone else's body, their personality, their soul or whatever, went into the Quantum Leap facility in the desert in San Diego or wherever it was. So they were in a holding facility and they could be told what was going on. We don't know what the fuck has happened to this guy. Is he dead? Is he? We don't know if
where is he?
If he
has he got
has
a job?
We don't know if he has a job that he's expected at, or he has friends or family or what. All we know is that Steve has taken over this guy's body, and they barely care at all. They
don't. They don't care. In fact, Gal is quite disparaging of him. It says later on, he says to her, "You haven't changed a bit in 70 years." She said to him, "I can't say the same about you." And you think, well, give over, because Christopher Polaha, who's playing him, is 43. Chris Pine is 40.
Yeah.
And actually,
he's a good-looking guy.
Mirror, he looks better than Chris Pine does.
He's perfectly good. He's
less wrinkly. Yeah,
he's fine. He's a guy. He's a Hallmark Christmas movie kind of actor. And the thing is, they just don't care. They just don't care what's happened to this guy. They use his body for sex. Diana, if she had her way, would just keep him forever, Steve Trevor, in this body. She doesn't care. And she's supposed to be this ethical, kind of moral person who only cares about
worries
truth
about other people.
And as far as she's concerned, so long as she's got Steve back, it doesn't. Who that gives a fuck about this other guy? It is so bizarre, and it's really kind of rapey, and it is. It is not cool. It's and there was no need for it whatsoever. There was no need for it. This is a complete.
He could have turned up.
He absolutely could have just.
Steve could have turned up at the do, just like the fat guy's coffee materialised.
Absolutely. There was no need for it whatsoever.
No need for it at all.
So they wrote themselves into a weird corner that results.
And we don't get to see what happens to him.
No, we don't know.
At all.
No, he exists again at the end, but who the fuck knows what he thinks happened during that week?
What this made me think of was Ghost Can't Do It, where they inhabit the guy at the end.
Yes.
It's that kind of. I'm thinking, Jesus, this is another shit Trump film, which pretty much it is. But
the weirdest thing about this film is why they chose to make it
needless.
A completely unnecessary body swap thing, which only causes problems. There is no plot point this benefits. There is no useful reason for having this as an aspect of the film. It only causes problems.
Once we see him in the mirror back at his place, we don't see him again for eons, ages, hours. Yeah, don't need it.
It's weird.
And then there's the bit, so they're walking down the National Mall after the party, at which point my question was, how does Steve know it's still 19-something?
Yeah.
He says, so here we are in 19, and she goes 84.
Yeah.
How does he know it's 19? How would he know?
While they're walking towards the Lincoln Memorial down the National Mall, we can see in the background the World War II Memorial, which was constructed in 2004.
Brilliant. And also I noticed that, because we know all we know about him is that he flies, apart from the fact we know that he's Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
And so he's interested in planes. He looks at the TWA plane flying over and goes, wow, that's amazing. Well, what is amazing? That flight is still going on.
Well, it's a big plane.
Amazing?
I mean, he's comparing it to like World War One. Because remember, in the 70s and 80s series, Steve Trevor was a World War II soldier.
Yeah.
And in the comic books, he was a World War II character.
Yeah.
So, Steve Trevor is comparing the 80s to 1918
airplane.
So,
but he's not at all worried about the Lincoln Memorial.
No,
which didn't exist till 1922.
Yeah.
Like a big giant guy lit up in a Romanesque
it's impressive.
temple.
if you know it's there and you're going there to see it. I've been there.
Yeah.
And it's
if you've
and it's
never
really,
seen it before, but if you're walking
impressive.
past and you go, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know, given that didn't exist when he was alive. And then also, the questions occurred to me, which I don't think are particularly answered later on when they go, oh, yeah, you looked me up in the phone book. He's been around for at least a day before he finds her at the party. She didn't work at the Smithsonian when she knew him in 1918. How did he know she worked there and would be there after dark? And how did they let him in, given that it was a private fundraising do?
It is confusing, yes. And he says that he went to her apartment
because he looked her up in the phone book
and saw her coming out and followed her. She arrives at the Smithsonian party in a car.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he followed her from her apartment.
No.
That is confusing, or how he got into the party. Neither of those things make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should have come up with a better reason why he knew she was going to be at the party. Or not met her at the party. He should have met her at her apartment.
Exactly. And how did he, he's quite calm when he meets her. Yeah. Despite the fact he's negotiated most of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, despite the fact he has suddenly...
Never been there before.
From not existing, essentially, appeared in 1984 DC.
Another guy's apartment.
In another person's body in another person's apartment. He seems reasonably well adjusted for that.
Reasonably calm, yeah. And then later on, when we're with him, everything he sees, he's completely overawed
Outstanding,
by. Yeah.
He can't take it all in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so he says he used the phone book to find her, and they basically just find it all funny, really, that they've taken over another guy's body. Max, meanwhile, has
back at the
taken
evil air.
Barbara to her office and kissed her, and kind of he's simultaneously told her that he could take the Dreamstone to a Roman artifact expert he knows, and also kind of stolen it while she's not looking because he's kissing her. To which later she says she lent it to him, but he basically palms it.
Just palms it, but it's quite big.
It's pretty big.
So one of my questions is, because then the scene after they're back at Christopher Pillar's apartment, looking at his futon, which he mispronounces once and then doesn't. We then go to Max Lord's evil lair, but it's not an evil lair because he's not an evil villain. With the stone, he's got the stone, and you think, well, how did he get that out of the room? I'm trying to think what went on.
It's a Bugs Bunny thing, I think. You know how cartoon characters just have some kind of internal pocket that they can bring stuff out of. That's basically it. Yeah. Because when he gets back, he's not holding it. He just kind of pulls it from nowhere.
But it's under his coat or something. But it's big enough to warrant putting it under his sleeve
to fit
where
in
the
a
coat
pocket.
is. Unless you've got the special pockets. Yeah, pocket size. But given the time lapse, because they're quite some time walking down the National Mall.
I mean, we don't know where his office is in relation to all of this stuff.
That's true. Yeah, and we don't know how many bases he got to with Barbara. Sufficient for her to notice that he's doing it with the crystal in his hand, and then backing out.
Everything he did
door.
Presumably was one-handed.
One-handed, yeah. Can you do that with one hand? Yeah, exactly.
And left her either incapacitated or or just dazed enough to not notice
more.
that he had the stone.
That he'd taken the bloody thing. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
there was, as is suggested by a later scene where she claims she lent it to him, he didn't steal it, and he convinced her that it would be best to lend it to him so that he could get it looked at by his Roman antiquities expert. But it's weird that he grabbed it and borrowed it like while kissing her. That's an unnecessary step.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, back at his lair, he does get it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he knows that this is the Dreamstone. He knows that it will give him whatever he wishes.
He flings all of his research to one side.
No reason to have that on the table at the same time. He knows that it... Presumably, he knows it is essentially a monkey's paw. He knows it will take something from him. And the wish he makes is to be the Dreamstone. Which, if you know it's a monkey's paw, is a fucking stupid wish. Because the point of a monkey's paw is that it will give you the wish you want, but not in the way you would like it to be.
Yeah.
And so the risk of saying, I want to be you, the Dreamstone itself, is that you turn to fucking stone and have no ability to do anything from that point onwards.
Yeah.
That's what a real monkey's paw would do to you if you made that kind of stupid fucking wish.
You might have some sort of waistband with some Latin on it. Yeah. But other than that, I want to be
the thing about a monkey's paw is you need to word your wish in a way that means you can't be got like that.
Yes, exactly. Very clearly.
Steve Trevor will call it the monkey's paw later on, and it once it becomes clear that this is a beware what you wish for kind of story.
Yeah.
But at this point, Max Lord presumably is the only person who knows this. And the thing about a monkey's paw, and the original monkey's paw story was written in the early 1900s, and the story was about a couple who got a monkey's paw which granted wishes. It was like an artifact that granted wishes, and what they wished for was money. And the way they got money, they got their wish, but they got it because their son died, and the army gave them money like compensation for their son dying. Yep. So the point of a monkey's paw in a well-written wishing, beware what you wish for type story is that the wish that you wish for is granted in a way that causes you a problem. It's granted, and the wish is not what you hoped for. And their second wish, because they have 3 wishes on this monkey's paw, is that they get their son back.
Yeah.
And their son comes back, but he's dead. He's a walking... he's like a zombie.
Corpse. Yeah.
So that's not what they wanted either. And their third wish is everything goes back to normal. And that's a good story. Because there is jeopardy in what they wish for. They're not wishing correctly. What they want isn't actually what they need, ultimately, and it's given to them in a way that causes them problems.
And it's also that the wish is you get the wish.
It's integral to the danger, to the sacrifice. There is nothing in this film which follows that formula. There is nothing where a person wishes for something which the way their wish is granted causes them problems. In this film, it's just you wish for something, you get what you wish for, but something completely separate happens, which is bad.
Yeah.
In not even in every case.
No, because we've had 3 wishes already.
Yeah, the coffee guy, nothing apparently bad happened.
Nothing, except he gets a hot coffee. And he goes, oh, hot. Nothing apparently bad happens to Barbara.
Well, as we'll find out for Diana, she starts really gradually to lose her powers. but by getting Steve back, which is unrelated to having Steve back.
Yeah. No.
Barbara wishes to be like Diana, and this is the fucking most ridiculous one, which annoyed the hell out of me, is that the thing that she loses in gaining confidence and power and strength and sexiness, apparently, and all of that stuff, is she loses her kindness. That's the only thing she loses. But given that she's a villain, who gives a fuck? She doesn't.
About that.
The thing about being a bad character is that if you lose your kindness, you don't care.
Yes, exactly. And actually, everyone else expects you to kind of lose that because you're a baddie. Is that not one of the attributes of being a baddie?
There is no negative
unkind?
to Barbara to having the strength of Wonder Woman and the power and the confidence and all of that stuff that turns her into a character she couldn't be herself. She couldn't be the what she wanted to be. She no longer gives money to the homeless. That's
and one of the attributes of Diana that she wished to be like is that Diana's quite kind and thoughtful and empathetic and
wants to do the best
looks out for her fellow man. Yes.
Yeah. So she doesn't get that.
Why is that? Why doesn't she get that bit? Yeah.
But what? And it's not that hard. The idea here, because what they could have done is, in Diana's case, for example, when she wished to have Steve back, is made the way that the wish is granted be the fact that it takes over someone else's body, and that is an ethical problem for her.
That's the problem. Yes.
If she then said, well, yes, I've got Steve back, but someone, I've basically killed an innocent person. I've taken over their life. They are not now a person anymore. Can I live with myself
and
about that?
I've got to live with that. Yes.
That's a monkey's paw thing, but that's completely glossed over. They don't give a shit about this other guy.
Well, because we don't know about the monkey's pawness of the thing until a long time later, until Max goes back to Simon and says, right, I want you, and he forces him to wish for black gold to be successful. And then he says, and in return, I will have...
Yeah, that's the first we hear about it.
Well, wait a minute. What happened up till that point?
Yeah. So Max wishes to be the Dreamstone. And by doing that, his plan appears to be to get people to wish on him, like while touching him. And as the dreams, and this is not how the Dreamstone works, at least in theory. The Dreamstone takes something from you when it grants your wish, but the Dreamstone doesn't get that thing. Mm-hmm. Like the Dreamstone doesn't have Wonder Woman's powers. It doesn't get Barbara's kindness. It just means Barbara loses her kindness and Wonder Woman loses her powers. Yeah. But once Max is the Dreamstone, he apparently gets whatever the other person loses. But every wish he convinces other people to make seems generally incrementally to be getting him towards, I guess, some end goal that he has in mind. And that's what's really unclear. I kind of went, okay, so as the baddie, going back to what we were talking about earlier, as the baddie, what is his end game? Yeah. What's it, in Bond, we know that the evil guy is going to blow up the moon in order to do this, or he's going to take California off the map in order to exploit the new coastline, or something like. We know exactly what they're going to do, and we're bought into thwarting that, even down to the countdown, down to 3 seconds to go, and all that stuff. That's what the jeopardy is, and it's very clear. So we kind of think,
why doesn't he, if he's set all along to buy up this land with the oil rights and there's no oil beneath them, why doesn't he do what Bond villains do and just wish for the oil?
Yeah.
That would solve
and
that
I mean,
problem.
that's a reasonably small scale wish. If he just wished for all of his oil wells to hit oil, he'd be super rich. And that would be what he's been aiming at in his business career.
In order to redeem himself in the eyes of his son.
But if he already knows that's not enough, and what he wants to be is the most powerful person in the world, and he's going to use a chain of frantic wishes which continually drain his health to get.
Yeah.
Just wish to be the most powerful person in the world. Why wish to be the wishing stone? There's no.
Yeah.
If you're essentially wishing for unlimited wishes, which you have to trick other people into wishing for you, in order to eventually, incrementally work your way towards a position of power, wish for the fucking position of power in the first place. Exactly. You can literally get anything you want. There isn't a limit on how much you can wish.
No.
Wish if you just say, I want to be the most powerful, richest, most influential, most successful, most famous person in the world, that would get him well beyond where he gets by the end of the film. With a single wish. And then it takes something from him. And that's what you're sacrificing. But he's almost dying by the end of the film based on granting other people's wishes.
Because it's a bit like that thing where the genie grants you a wish and you go, oh yeah, I'll have, fast cars. Yeah, what about your second one? Yeah, as much wine as I could drink. Yeah, third one, more wishes. No, it doesn't work like that. So, okay, then I wish for more bottles.
Yeah.
Out of which the genies would appear. And the genie goes, oh, shit. So he's kind of, he's just doing that instead of going.
Absolutely. He's cheating. He's found a loophole. But the loophole doesn't benefit.
What reveals the entire flaw in the film is that he's not clear about what it is that he wants, sufficient to make it clear to us, the viewer, so that we can root for the good guys to thwart him in that achieving that goal. But because he's got the Dreamstone at 50 minutes in, he can get what he wants. That's the problem. That's the problem with this film. Nobody's stopped him getting what he wants. So the only person that can stop him getting what he wants is himself. So he does that by
choosing a fucking stupid wish.
And it's the longest bit of monologuing by the evil villain. It's 2.5 hours of another hour. Where are we at? 50 minutes, 56 minutes. It's an hour and a half of monologuing by the villain, such that the good guys can intercept him and prevent it, but they don't. They don't even do that because they don't know what the fuck he wants, so they don't know how to counter it. Yes, you're right. That's fundamentally what's wrong with this film. It doesn't know what the villain wants.
And there's a lot of wind when he makes the wish.
A lot of wind.
Become the dream
so much wind.
We don't.
Andy feels his temples. We feels his temples, and then so. Then we see the next morning we're at Barbara's house. She wrenches the fridge door off its hinges. So we think,
because she's apparently gradually getting her powers. She was sexy last night, but not strong. Now she's strong as well.
Not strong. Yes, because, not like the coffee guy got all of his coffee in one go.
Yeah.
He just got the heat first, not the coffee. So then, meanwhile, back in Steve Futon...
Yeah. Diana's
the best moment in the film for me was if we were invested in it sufficiently, that this is the best film, but it's completely wasted in this film. She wakes up convinced, and she suddenly thinks, what if it was all a dream? And she flips round, and he's there.
Eating a Pop-Tart.
And you kind of go, oh, that's quite neat. He's eating a Pop-Tart. And he's going, I've been awake all morning. You think, what time is it? I've been awake all morning eating Pop-Tarts. It's about 4 gallons of coffee. He's not going to be able to spend much longer in that bed without needing to go to the loo.
And then they kiss a bit and say, they should definitely stay in bed. And then she says,
forever.
We kind of should figure out why you're back in the body of someone else. Back.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say, let's do that later. He goes, we should definitely do that right now. No, fuck off. Yeah. You're in bed with Gal Gadot.
You've been away for 70 years. You've just worked it out.
We've got time to figure that out.
We've got time. Whatever. It's not bothered you yet. Yeah. And then we cut to Barbara in the gym. The fridge store wasn't enough, so she goes to little weights to massive weights. And you think, oh, yeah, that's quite funny.
Yeah. Yeah, now she can
lift
a heavyweight thing.
And then Max goes to visit Simon, the previous disgruntled investor, and we're introduced to the in return for the wish bit. You think, well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Did the stone prior to this get something in return for the comic book store guy's coffee, or Diana's unspoken wish, or Barbara's super Diana-like heel managing sexy strength? Did the stone get something at that point in return? No. And no amount of studying on the part of gemologist or
the
stone
is excellent at walking in heels.
Yeah. Or got something in return, which was, I don't know, Barbara's curly hair or something. I don't know. But suddenly, Max gets Simon to wish for what Max wants to wish so that he could say it out loud, because Max forgot to say that when he was wishing to be the stone. And in return, asks for something else. So we learned that at this point, at 54 minutes in, that the stone, the wish you get somebody to say gives you something in return that you take from the person that wishes it.
Yeah, and you apparently get to just choose what you want from that person.
Yeah, anything you like. And also gives you a bit of a pain in the temple. Because he goes, ooh, like that. Which later on we can do some lovely vein
that
effects.
Isn't clear, because if the
of all things,
if the price that Max pays for being the wishing stone for his wish is that his health deteriorates, it isn't clear why it would deteriorate further with every wish he grants.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense at all.
No,
because it would just be that his. And why is his wish? Why is his health the thing that the wishing stone takes? There's no evidence beforehand that his health is the thing he values the most.
Exactly.
It would arguably be his business or Alistair
else.
or Yeah.
It's not affected Diana.
Not yet. Well, it's really gradually.
Not until he's introduced
really gradually affecting Diana.
But
we don't know yet.
No,
there's no. Well, she hasn't been Wonder Woman yet. She's not. No. It's again. How long are we in? 50 minutes in. We haven't seen Wonder Woman since minute 17. So.
Yeah.
There's no reason to assume she has any less powers than she would normally have. No.
No. And then we get this. This is the kind of the bit yet more arch campness scene where we're back at the apartment inhabiting whatever his name is. The poor guy that doesn't exist anymore. Engineer guy. And then you can't. And Steve is surprised at what spray deodorants does.
Yeah,
Not
it's
what it is, but what it does. So he's got it up his shirt. He's wearing a shirt. He's spraying on deodorant up his shirt, and then it goes, oh, when it sprays out. How did he know to get to the point of picking the thing up, stuffing it up his shirt, and sticking it under his arm, and then be surprised by the stuff coming out of the?
Yeah.
How would he know that? What? Yeah. So then we get
and then we get a montage
critique
of him trying on different 80s type outfits.
Yeah.
This is
basically
arguably the funniest part of the film.
Yeah.
It's not funny, but it is the bit they thought was funny. It's the only attempt at humour in the entire film, really. I don't think there's... Am I wrong? I don't think there's any other bit which it seems like maybe they thought might be funny when they were making it.
Yeah.
This bit, it seems like they thought would be funny. And, yeah, okay.
It's all right. Well, it's one of those, it's like when people post pictures on social media of how we looked 20 years ago, and we go, didn't we look young?
Wacky.
Go, well, yeah, it's 20 years ago. Didn't we dress differently then? Yes, we did, because the fashions were different. It's that kind of...
Basically,
it's a chuckling
that's the level of humour
of
this is.
How funny we looked at when we were young and dressing in the 80s.
The funniest line in the entire sequence, which makes it the funniest line in the entire film, is Steve asking, because presumably Diana has told him that a pair of pants he's wearing are called parachute pants. He says, does everyone parachute now? That's as funny as the entire film gets.
Yeah. And it is, which isn't.
It's not very funny. But...
So, and Michael Jackson and Miami Vice and Duran Duran all come in for a kicking. Yeah. All of the new romantics.
Jackets with... I mean, it was funny...
Rolled up sleeves.
It was arguably funny when they did it in Friends in 2002, when they were doing the flashback to the prom video where Ross and Chandler were kind of pushing their sleeves up to look like Sonny Crockett and Crockett and Tubbs. So it's the same joke essentially. As I looked at some magazines and I saw that people pushed their jacket sleeves up. Exactly. People in the 80s looked funny.
Yeah. And it's kind of, and Chris Pine was 4 in 1984. Gal Gadot wasn't born. So basically they're dressing up and taking the piss out of their parents. Yeah, that's it. And the thing is, it would be endearing and charming if it was Diana Dawes, if it was
Linda Carter.
If it was... Yeah, or if it was a screwball 50s comedy with Rock Hudson and whoever in it playing opposite. It was that kind of 50s,
the thing is,
saccharine, funny thing.
The thing is, if they'd set this film in 2020, I mean, ignoring the pandemic, obviously, but if they'd set it early 2020 or 2019... first of all, they could have avoided all the continuity issues with the Justice League and other films like that. Steve Trevor could have been just as amazed by all of the things in 2019.
Yeah.
They could have taken the piss out of modern fashion in this scene.
Yeah.
With Steve Trevor trying on things that the kids are wearing these days. Basically, everything would have been arguably more funny, and they could have had some modern political commentary as well. The only thing they would have missed out on is that sense that all of the men who ogled the women were of their time. But they could have made a Me Too kind of comment on it.
Yeah.
Because they could
have done the thing about it's 100 years later. Yeah.
It's not like people don't make suggestive or inappropriate comments to women these days. They could still have had that aspect and said and made it clear that's not okay. There is almost nothing that would have been lost by setting it like last year.
And in fact, there probably would have been a lot to gain, because even if they said it in 2018, they could then say it's been, Steve could say it's been 100 years and nothing seems to have changed. Regarding and that would be a valid feminist-driven thought process. And
they could have
argument
drawn. They could have drawn absolute comparisons.
You mean there's still, but your women are still being paid less than men for the same job?
Absolutely, they could have made some comments. And I mean, yes, it's a very common sci-fi, fantasy, fiction, comedy trope of looking at a fish out of water type situation as an analogy for modern times, but you don't. This isn't that. Then that's not what they're doing. They're not using the 80s as an analogy for Me Too. Then they're saying that was what it was like in the 80s. The fact that it's not like it was, but there's stuff that is still as bad is a point they could have made that they just don't. They don't bother. And there was absolutely no need, given what they did with it, vis-a-vis Barbara, wanting to be sexy like Gal Gadot. They don't need. It doesn't need to have been set in the 80s. Other than it's a popular thing now. Absolutely. I mean,
they could have
had they could have had Kristen Wiig watching an episode of fucking Cagney and Lacey and being inspired to stand up for her female rights. That would have been more 80s and more realistic than what went on. It's weird that they chose to set it then for the benefits they got out of it.
And no need for it. It'd be interesting to see how old the director is and whether what she was doing for this scene is taking the
Patty
piss
Jenkins.
of the dressing up.
I would say she's probably my age. She's probably mid-40s, but I don't know.
Right.
Which would put her 80s. Absolutely.
Up.
I mean, I'm an 80s kid. I was 6 in 1980. I consider the 80s the period during which I grew up. So I mean, maybe that's why she thought that would be good. I don't know, but it's weird. I mean, in a way, I don't know if that is what she was going for. She fucking wasted her opportunity to do it. There's so much more that could have been done. So much more 80s. I mean, look at. I haven't seen that much Stranger Things. I know that you're a big fan of Stranger Things, but look at how much that has used the iconography of the 80s.
Yeah,
and it has in a sense driven a revival of the 80s in that way. It uses those bright colours, that all of the feel and the vibrancy and the fame leggings and all of that kind of stuff.
But I think it was driven by an homage to Spielberg because there was a film called Super 8 which was set in that period, and I think Stranger Things has got a lot to. There was another sci-fi thing where there was a bunch of kids that were that discovered that the hill upon which they lived was a spaceship, and they were kind of helping them. It's a bit like Batteries Not Included, so they were kind of helping the robot aliens. So it was very E.T., but it was made in the 2000s, and it was an homage to Spielberg. So it was made by filmmakers who grew up watching Spielberg. So
it's like an American New Wave, basically. It has that possibility to be, and the French New Wave was filmmakers in the 60s having grown up on cinema in the 40s and 50s. Yeah. And
what Citizen Kane,
and Tarantino was the first of the real American New Wave, and there's absolutely room for that, of people who grew up watching, Pee-wee on TV and Spielberg in the cinema. And using that kind of cinematic language to tell their stories now. And
because there's a reason that Stranger Things is set in that time, which means that the bad guys get thwarted by the kids, because that's a Spielberg trope, and the bad guys don't just shoot everybody like they did in the 90s.
And
the bad guys win because they've got the guns, but in the 80s they've got the guns but they don't use them.
And
that's
the strongest connection possibly is the bad guy, is Pedro Pascal. He is a Gordon Gekko kind of character. So the 80s makes sense as a milieu for him, but it's not out of place now. It's not
now.
I mean, obviously, as we've said with the allegory to Trump, it wouldn't be weird to see a shyster con man TV personality becoming successful and influential.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Well, Trump himself is a product of the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's that the timeline is there. It's not like you need to be in the 80s in order to be a Trump character. You can be Trump now. Well, we've just lived through that. So
ultimately,
legacy of his 80s thing.
They should have either leaned into it way more or not bothered. And the kind of milquetoast version that they did of bothering to set it in the 80s in this film is just pointless as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So
leave part one there then.
Yeah, let's do that. Because we've got through 2 pages and I've only got 8 more.
I've got through 6. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, my final thought was there's no chemistry in that sequence of the 80s dressing up bit. It's all shot in long shot. It looks like that sequence in Duck Soup where there's a mirror that happens across the doorway.
Yeah, and Groucho
and Harpo
in front of the mirror in his
exactly.
in his night dress.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of think there's more warmth and humanity in that shot, which is all shot in long
Absolutely.
shot, than this entire sequence. And it just, what is... Yeah, because there's just so much more invested, so much more professionalism, so much more chemistry and humour, and they're not
look at
taking a piss out of the audience.
Any film or any TV show that isn't set in the present day, basically. Yeah. If like there's period stuff, there's like, Jane Eyre, Jane Austen, that kind of stuff, and then there's modern period stuff, which I would say is anything from the 50s onwards.
Yeah.
You look at Green Book, you look at Casino, you look at anything that is set this or last century, I guess. A real effort is made to position it in time, to make it feel like it's of that time, to get all of the fashions and I'm not saying they got the fashions wrong or anything like that.
Yeah.
They just, for most of the film, didn't bother.
Yeah. But there's also, in those period set things, there's a reason to set them.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that period, which is used as part of the plot.
Yeah.
But there's just no need, it's not...
They didn't... I would forgive them not having a reason to set it in 1984 if they did it in a way that gave you some kind of benefit.
Yeah.
If they leaned into it, if they made it of the time, if they did a soundtrack, if they made every scene 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, look at the Wonder Years, for example. A whole fucking series.
That
was set 20 years before it was shot.
Yeah.
And every scene in that felt like it was of its time.
Yeah.
It felt like the 60s.
Happy days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a reason for making a period piece, a modern period piece.
Yeah.
And this film had no reason to do it, and did it badly.
Failed to deliver, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well, we look forward to revisiting this terrible work of awfulness.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're interested in going and watching it, please do.
Oh yeah, by all means,
pay for
watch it. Spend your 2.5 hours watching it yourself.
Yeah, don't spend any money because you'll regret it. And be careful what you wish for.
Life is good, but it can be better.
I want to be the apex predator. Barbara, what did you do?
The way I fly, they will never find us.
I forgot to tell you.
What?
Radar.
Will they shoot at us? Well, shit, Diana. Does everybody parachute now?